Who comforts a crying woman after her date walks out, not knowing she'll change his life forever? Allison never expected to be abandoned mid-dinner, especially not with her 5-year-old son sitting beside her, watching her heartbreak unfold. But just when she thought the night couldn't get worse, a stranger stepped in, offering her shelter from the rain and a moment of kindness that would echo far beyond that evening. She didn't know he was a millionaire. He didn't know she would be the one person who could see through his perfect life. And neither of them were ready for what would come next. Before we dive into the story, comment below where you're watching from. Enjoy the story, everyone. It had started with hope. Allison even curled her hair, which hadn't happened since Noah's 5th birthday party. The one where she burned the cupcakes and cried in the bathroom. But this was supposed to be different. She wore her best sweater, put on lipstick, brought Noah because the sitter bailed last minute, but told herself that was fine. It was just coffee. Just 1 hour of pretending her life didn't revolve around Lego bricks and cold mac and cheese. The man showed up late, scrolled through his phone while she ordered, and nodded when she introduced Noah with a hopeful smile. He said the boy was cute. Then he excused himself to take a call and never came back. They waited 20 minutes before the server approached with gentle eyes and asked if she wanted the check. Outside, the rain had already started. Allison held it in until she reached the sidewalk. Noah's tiny fingers were laced through hers, his backpack bouncing with each step. He looked up at her, his voice impossibly calm. "Mommy, I don't think he liked us." She crouched in front of him, trying to tie his shoelace and hold her breath at the same time. But the tears came anyway, hot and embarrassing. Noah frowned. "Are you crying?" She shook her head quickly, but her voice cracked. "Just tired, honey." That's when a voice cut through the quiet drizzle. "Hey, sorry, I don't mean to intrude, but are you two okay?" She looked up and saw a man holding a black umbrella, standing just beneath the awning of the bookstore next door. Dark coat, rolled cuffs, sharp features, and the kind of presence that made you instinctively straighten your spine. But his voice was soft, measured. He stepped forward slowly. "You look like you could use shelter." Allison hesitated. Noah moved closer to her side, pressing against her leg like a reflex. The man didn't push. The bookstore's open. Kids section in the back. Dinosaur beanbags. "It's warm. You're welcome to wait the rain out." Allison looked down at Noah, who was already whispering, "Did he say dinosaurs?" She nodded once. "Okay." Inside, the bookstore smelled like paper and cinnamon tea. A low jazz guitar hummed from somewhere near the front. It felt timeless, the kind of place where you might forget what day it was and not mind. Noah darted toward the children's section like a compass pointing home. The man offered his hand. "Liam." "Allison," she replied. "And that's Noah. It's good to meet you both." He glanced toward the counter. "May I offer you a tea or something warm?" "No pressure." She hesitated, then nodded. "Tea sounds nice." A few minutes later, they sat across from each other at a small wooden table. Liam didn't pry, didn't ask questions, just waited for her to breathe again. She exhaled slowly. He left during dinner, didn't even finish his coffee, said he had to take a call and never came back. Liam's brow furrowed slightly. "People can be cowards. Maybe I scare them off," she said, only half joking. "Or maybe you just haven't met anyone brave enough to stay." Her eyes lifted to his. For a second, she didn't feel like the woman who got stood up in the rain. She felt seen. Noah returned a few minutes later, proudly clutching a picture book about Triceratops astronauts. Look, this one has space helmets. Liam leaned over. That's a solid choice. Noah stared at him intently. Do you like dinosaurs? I did. Still do. Noah gave a slow, approving nod. Then you're okay. Allison laughed. That's his highest form of approval. By the time they left, the rain had slowed to a light mist. Liam walked them to the curb. Thank you, she said quietly, for all of this. He pulled a simple card from his coat pocket. Just his name and a number. If you ever need a place to dry off again. She took it, pressed it into her palm like it was something warm. Noah tugged at Liam's coat. Next time I'll show you my dino drawings. I'd like that, Liam smiled. They walked away into the fog. And when she got home, soaked through and exhausted, Allison didn't throw away the card. She set it on the table next to the handkerchief with the single embroidered L. Not knowing she'd just stepped into the beginning of a story that would change everything. If you're still here, you're amazing. Hit like if you love true stories, it helps us keep going. The next time she saw him, it wasn't planned. Noah had forgotten his backpack at the bookstore, the one with the dinosaur stickers and the crumpled rocket ship drawing that had lived in the front pocket since preschool began. She'd only realized it after bedtime when Noah's lower lip wobbled and he whispered that he couldn't sleep without it. The clock said 8:47. The street was dark, but the bookstore lights were still on. She told herself she was doing this for Noah. Not because something inside her had secretly hoped she'd see him again. Liam opened the door before she could even knock. I was hoping it'd be you, he said, a small smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. He wasn't in a coat tonight, just a dark charcoal sweater, sleeves pushed up, and a pencil tucked behind his ear. There was something quieter about him in that moment, like catching a glimpse of someone in their natural light. I'm sorry to bother you, she said quickly. Noah left his backpack. He was so upset. No need to apologize, he said. Come in. It's right where he left it. Noah darted past them like a flash, straight to the reading corner. Allison stepped inside more slowly, feeling the warmth wrap around her. It felt different now, not just cozy, but safe. The lights were dimmer, the music slower. There was a blanket folded over the reading chair. A mug still on the counter. She got the sense he hadn't been working. He'd just been here. You live here or something, she asked, half teasing. Something like that, he said. Sometimes I don't like going home right away. She nodded, not asking why. He watched her for a moment, then glanced toward the counter. Tea? She hesitated. Promise it's not a trick, he added. I won't vanish mid-pour. That made her laugh. Okay. Tea. He moved with ease, like he'd made this offer before, like he knew the quiet of this place mattered more than the words. When he returned, she took the cup with both hands and sat on the edge of the small couch near the window. I'm not used to this, she admitted. Someone just being nice. You don't have to be used to it, he said. You just have to let it happen. In the back, Noah returned with his backpack slung triumphantly over one shoulder. Mission complete, he said, then flopped into the beanbag like a war hero. Allison looked at the time. We should go. It's late. Can I read one story? Noah asked, already pulling a book off the shelf. She opened her mouth to say no, but Liam was already crouching beside him, peeking at the cover. Oh, the confused Triceratops. This one's a classic. You know it. I've done the voices, Liam said, glancing up at her with a smirk. She raised a brow. I doubt that. He winked. Dare me. And then he started to read, dramatically, hilariously, giving the Triceratops a deep pirate voice and the duck-billed dinosaurs a posh British accent. Noah was giggling before the first page ended. Allison sat on the couch, hands wrapped around her mug, watching this man, this stranger, bring laughter back into her child's body. It didn't make sense, but it felt right. When the book ended, Liam closed it with a theatrical sigh. And that, he said, is why you never assume you're a dragon unless you check for wings first. Noah yawned hard. That was good. Thanks, Captain. They stood to leave, Noah dragging his feet now, content and sleepy. Allison pulled his hood up and looked at Liam. I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to, he said. I like having good company. She hesitated at the door. Why are you doing this? Really? He seemed to think for a moment. Because someone once helped me when I didn't know how to ask for it. And because your son thinks I'm cool. She smiled. That's high praise. As she stepped out into the night, Liam reached for something behind the counter. He caught up with them outside, holding out the handkerchief she'd used the first night. Refold. Clean. A tiny note tucked inside. For emergencies. Or dinosaur voices. She took it carefully. Her fingers lingered on the edge of the linen, heart beating too fast for a moment that wasn't supposed to mean anything. Good night, Liam. Good night, Allison. Sleep well, Rocket Captain. Noah giggled and waved, then buried his face in his backpack as they walked away. That night, after Noah fell asleep hugging the bag to his chest, Allison placed the handkerchief back on her nightstand. She didn't open the note. Not yet. But she kept it close. Just in case. It had been a week since the bookstore. Allison hadn't called him. Hadn't texted. The card sat in the side drawer of her kitchen counter next to expired coupons and a key to something she no longer remembered owning. But she'd thought about it. About him. About the way he'd made Noah laugh. About the way he'd looked at her like she wasn't broken, just tired. She told herself not to get attached. Liam was kind, sure, but kindness didn't mean anything permanent. It didn't pay bills or stick around or stay when things got hard. Still, when the weekend came and she saw him again, it wasn't planned. Not by her, anyway. She'd promised Noah a stop at the park after errands. They were halfway through a snack break on a peeling bench near the old tire swing when she heard a familiar voice behind her. Let me guess. Triceratops with space helmet. She turned, already smiling. You again. Liam stood with a coffee in one hand and a paper bag in the other, dressed down this time, soft shirt, jeans, scuffed boots. He looked normal, and somehow even more handsome for it. You two come here often? He asked, nodding toward the swing set. Noah leapt off the bench. This is the best park. It has a slide that gives you static hair and the sand smells like peanut butter. That's a weirdly specific compliment, Liam said, crouching slightly. But I'll take your word for it. Allison stood slowly, brushing crumbs off her lap. Did you follow us? No, he said, straightening. But I live a block away. Saturday mornings are market runs and fresh coffee. Sometimes fate throws in bonus dinosaurs. She shook her head, amused. Do you always sound like a Hallmark movie? He leaned closer, voice low. Only when it's working. It caught her off guard, the way he said it. Not flirtatious. Just honest. They sat on the bench while Noah ran to the sandbox. Liam offered her the extra coffee from the bag. You looked like you could use one, he said. She hesitated only a moment before taking it. Thanks. They watched Noah in silence. The wind rustled the trees above them, scattering a few early spring petals across the ground like lazy confetti. So, Liam said eventually, how's the week been? She exhaled. Busy. Tired. Work is chaos. Noah's school sent home another fundraising letter. I found a spider in the cereal box. You know, glamorous stuff. He smiled. Sounds like real life. Exactly. She looked at him. And you? What's your glamorous life like? He paused, then answered quietly. Less real than yours. She tilted her head. What does that mean? He took a sip of coffee as if buying time. It means I've spent a lot of years building a life that looks good on paper. Fancy addresses. Fast meetings. Polished everything. But sometimes I forget what's underneath. And what's underneath? She asked softly. Liam didn't answer right away. Instead, he watched Noah build a tiny sand fortress with the patience only children possess. Then he said, I don't know. I think I'm still figuring that out. Noah ran back, holding up a lopsided cup of sand. This is for you, he said. It's pretend tea, but it's strong. Liam accepted the sand with both hands. Thank you, sir. I needed that. Allison smiled. It was impossible not to. You're very good with him. He makes it easy. The moment hung there for a beat too long, filled with something neither of them quite knew how to name. Later, when they walked toward the edge of the park, Noah sprinted ahead to chase a pigeon. Liam glanced sideways. Can I ask you something? Sure. Are you okay with people knowing about us? She blinked. Us. I mean seeing us. Talking. You, me, and Noah. Is that okay? She studied him carefully. Why wouldn't it be? His jaw tightened slightly. Because sometimes being seen comes with assumptions. Questions. And I know I haven't told you everything yet. She folded her arms. What haven't you told me? Before he could answer, a voice interrupted. Allison? She turned, surprised. It was Jenna, another single mom from Noah's school. Always a little too observant. Always in a hurry to pass judgment between PTA meetings. I thought that was you. Jenna's eyes flicked to Liam, then back again. And who's this? Allison opened her mouth, hesitating. Liam stepped in, offering a calm, polite smile. Just a friend. Nice to meet you. Jenna nodded slowly, clearly filing it away. Well, we'll see you Monday at the fundraiser. Yeah, Allison said, forcing a smile. See you. When Jenna was gone, Liam exhaled. I'm sorry. That was a? No, she interrupted. It's okay. But something about the moment lingered. She thought about it later that night when she pulled Noah's blanket higher and shut the bedroom door behind her. She stood in the hallway holding the coffee cup from earlier, now empty, and stared at Liam's card in the drawer again. She picked it up and finally sent a message. Thank you for today. Noah's still talking about the santee. She didn't expect a reply right away. But it came. I still taste it. Very earthy. October 10th. Would sip again. She smiled. Then typed. Would you want to come over sometime? For real tea? Or just to be around? A pause. Then, yeah, I'd like that. Her hand stayed on the phone screen longer than necessary. And just like that, she realized she didn't feel so tired anymore. He didn't come over the next day. Or the day after. But on Wednesday evening, there was a knock at the door just after dinner, soft, unhurried, like he already knew she'd be home. Noah was the one who opened it. Liam, he shouted, launching forward like a rocket. You came. I did, Liam said, laughing as he caught him. But only if there's real tea involved. Allison stood in the hallway, tea towel still in her hand, hair pulled up in a messy knot from the dishes. She looked tired, but her smile was real. I didn't think you'd actually. I said I would, he replied, stepping inside. I meant it. She didn't know why that made her heart stutter. But it did. They sat at the small kitchen table, mismatched mugs between them, Noah drawing crayon meteors across folded printer paper at the counter. For a while, it was simple. Easy. They talked about favorite books, worst jobs, how she once cried at a commercial about a dog, and how he'd nearly gotten arrested in college for trying to sneak into an abandoned planetarium. But the calm didn't last. It cracked a little when Noah ran up, waving a page of his drawing in one hand. This is me and Mommy and Liam, he said proudly. We're flying through space. Allison glanced down. 3 stick figures in a cardboard rocket. Her in a purple triangle dress. Liam with squiggly dark hair. Noah dead center, arms up. Liam smiled softly. I've never looked better. But when he looked up at Allison, something shifted in her eyes, just a flicker. As if a line had been crossed without warning. She stood to take the mugs to the sink. It's getting late, she said. I should put Noah to bed. Liam stood too, suddenly uncertain. Of course. I didn't mean to, eh? It's fine, she said too quickly. Really? Noah pouted. But I wanted to show him the star stickers on the ceiling. Next time, she promised, smoothing his hair. Liam grabbed his coat. Thanks for the tea. And the art. She walked him to the door. He lingered in the threshold. Allison, he said carefully, did I do something wrong? She hesitated. No, she said. But she didn't meet his eyes. He stepped back. Okay. Good night. Good night. She closed the door softly and leaned her forehead against it the moment it latched. That night, he didn't sleep, not because she pushed him away, but because the next morning the headline dropped. A candid photo snapped from across the park. Allison and Noah on the bench. Liam leaning in, laughing. It hit every feed by noon. Elusive tech mogul seen with mystery woman and child secret family? The article speculated wildly, quoting nothing, offering no facts, only blurry assumptions and intrusive guesses. Allison's face was visible. So was Noah's. He called her immediately. No answer. Texted. Nothing. He waited 2 hours before driving over. Her car was in the lot, but her windows were dark. He knocked. Waited. And when she opened the door, she didn't look like herself. She looked like someone who hadn't slept. Someone who had cried too recently. I didn't know, she said before he could speak. I didn't know who you were. I wasn't hiding, he said. I just didn't lead with it. I Googled you. I figured. She crossed her arms. Why didn't you tell me? Because I liked who I was with you. Not the job. Not the money. Just me. Her voice cracked. You should have told me. Before it became a headline. I know. Noah's voice drifted from the other room. Mommy? Are we in a magazine? She closed her eyes. They'll dig now, she said. Into everything. My job. Our lives. My son. I'll stop it. You can't. That's the point. You live in a world I don't understand, Liam. And it's swallowing us. He stepped closer. Then let me pull you out. She shook her head. You don't get it. Then help me get it. But she didn't answer. He left without another word. That night, Allison shut off her phone. Deleted the apps. Closed the curtains. Pretended the world outside couldn't touch her. But it already had. And Liam, for all his good intentions, had brought it right to her door. The letter came 3 days later. Not a text. Not an email. A real letter, ink on paper, delivered by hand. She found it under her doormat, tucked neatly like it had waited its whole life to be found. It wasn't long. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. Not because I owe you an explanation, but because you deserved one. The truth is, I didn't want to be him around you. The man in the suits, the titles, the headlines. I just wanted to be someone who made you feel safe. And I failed at that. I understand if you want nothing more to do with me. But I miss Noah's drawings. I miss your laugh. I miss the quiet that only existed when you were in the room. No pressure. No expectations. Just letting you know that I'm still here. Yours if you want. Allison sat at the kitchen table long after reading it, the letter limp in her hand, the kettle forgotten and screaming on the stove. That evening, she picked up her phone and texted a single line. He still talks about your dinosaur voice. It took a minute. Then, that's because it's award-winning. She laughed. The first real laugh in days. The next day, she let Liam come by. Noah ran into his arms like no time had passed at all, holding up a drawing of a spaceship with their names scrawled across the hull in crayon. Noah, Mommy, Liam. Liam blinked more than once while looking at it. They didn't talk about the headlines, or the chaos, or the storm that had nearly drowned them both. They just sat on the couch, a cartoon playing in the background, Noah curled up between them with a juice box and half a granola bar. Later that night, after Noah had fallen asleep across both their laps and the room was quiet again, Liam looked at her. I never wanted to scare you, he said. I know. I wanted to matter. But not in the way money makes someone matter. You do, she said quietly. But this is slow. It has to be. For me. For Noah. I'll go as slow as you want, he said. Even if that means standing still sometimes. She turned to him. You're not the first person to promise that. No, he agreed. But I want to be the last one who has to prove it. He didn't try to kiss her. He just held her hand like it was a fragile thing with its own story. And that night, for the first time in a long time, she left the curtains open. The next weeks moved quietly. Gently. Liam showed up with coloring books and coffee. Noah started calling him Space Captain. Allison let herself sit a little closer, speak a little softer, laugh a little easier. He never pushed, and she started believing him. Then, one Sunday morning, while Noah was still in his dinosaur pajamas and Liam was attempting to make pancakes that looked more like abstract art, she stood in the doorway, arms crossed, watching them. Liam turned around, flour on his cheek. "What?" She tilted her head. "You know, you're not very good at pancakes." "I'm excellent at pancakes." "You're excellent at pretending to be bad at pancakes so you don't have to make breakfast every time." He grinned. "You caught me." She stepped forward, took the spatula, and kissed his cheek. "I think we're going to be okay," she said. Liam looked at her, really looked at her, and smiled. "Yeah," he said. "I think we already are." Noah burst into the room a moment later, holding up a new drawing. 3 figures in space suits standing on the moon with the words "our team" scribbled above their heads. Allison framed it that afternoon. It hung above the kitchen table by evening, not as proof of what they were, but as a reminder that even after the worst nights, some stories begin in the rain and end with stars.